The big question surrounding LIV Golf, funding issues aside, is can they retain their big name superstars? Bryson DeChambeau's contract with LIV expires at the end of 2026. So what becomes of Bryson? Does he stay? Does he go? You know, the old Clash song, should I stay or should I go? There were reports this week that DeChambeau and his team held meetings with representatives from the PGA Tour while he was in Augusta for the Masters 2 weeks ago, discussing what would a path back to the PGA Tour look like for Bryson DeChambeau. Now, keep in mind, he was just offered a path back to the PGA Tour a couple months ago. Remember when the PGA Tour offered, they were, hey, when they gave it to Brooks Koepka? Basically, if you've won a major within the past 5 years, and I forget what the exact conditions were, but it was basically Brooks Koepka, John Rahm, Cam Smith, and Bryson DeChambeau were the players that all qualified for that exemption back for immediate restoration or whatever, or immediate eligibility back on the PGA Tour. Brooks Koepka back playing again, played this week at the Zurich Classic. And so Bryson had a path back not long ago, but said, no, I want to stay. And so, but it does appear that Bryson is at least dipping his toes in the pool of the idea of going back to the PGA Tour. And again, I was a music agent for 20 years. I represented some of the biggest artists in the world, Grammy winners, Juno winners, you name it, Grammy nominees, whatever. And as an agent or manager, your job for the client is to explore all options and then present them to the client and say, hey, look, this is the options available to you, but this is the path I think we should go. What do you think? And that's what a good agent or manager does. So I wouldn't be shocked if Bryson's agent and manager did reach out to the PGA Tour and say, hey, because a good agent would, to help prepare their clients so they're not stuck. Because let's say LIV does fall, then what happened to Bryson? And what if he faced like a 2-year ban from the PGA Tour? So all of this is just good management and good business sense if he did, in fact, hold those meetings with PGA Tour reps. But instead of a report or speculation, English podcaster who goes by Flushing It Golf, he's got a big Twitter following, Tom from Flushing It Golf actually spoke with Bryson DeChambeau. Not a rumor, not a hearsay. He got on the phone with Bryson and said, what's going on? So Flushing It Golf put out this report about the ongoing negotiations with LIV and said, quote, he's still working on a potential contract and that he feels a responsibility to make the league work. So this is an actual quote from Bryson DeChambeau. There's a lot of moving parts. Like in any business, it's a startup, right? And so there's going to be times where we're squeezed and punched. This is one of those moments, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make it work. And I really see the value in franchise golf. And I've spoke about this 6 weeks ago. I mean, go listen to my shows. I would have said there's no chance in hell Bryson DeChambeau leaves LIV because he likes the team aspect of golf. He sees the value in it. It also allows him to do his social media stuff, the YouTube, everything in between. 6 weeks ago, I would have bet the farm. I don't own a farm, but I would have bet, if I owned a farm, I would have bet it and said he's not leaving LIV. But then obviously you saw his performance at the Masters, and he said publicly since he won and LIV South Africa that something's been distracting him off the course. Is it the financial issues? We don't know. Maybe just the contract negotiations itself is what's distracting him. But I was leaning last week on the show. I leaned saying he probably might leave. Now this report from Flushing It Golf cast doubt on all that. You know, Bryson went on to talk about how he wants to push forward for LIV Golf for all the young stars, Caleb Surratt and Tom McKibben. These are all the young guys, really good players, young players on LIV that all committed and their futures are kind of pending on the survival of the league. And so he says he wants to kind of, stay the course for them. But then he also went on to say, quote, we're still working on a potential contract. I haven't given up on that. And I think there will be a solution. But as of right now, my job is to help make the league work after this year, not just this year. My job is to help make the league work after this year. I just feel I have a responsibility. I've put a lot of effort into it. So that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to make this work. As long as LIV is here, I would figure out a way for it to make sense. So that's Bryson DeChambeau. As long as LIV is here, I'll figure out a way for it to make sense and work. He wants to make it work beyond this year. So that's from the horse's mouth. Not an unnamed source, not an agent, not a vendor on LIV. Bryson's like, I want to stay. So it appears he is trying to work out a deal to stay with LIV.